marketing trends to implement during COVID-19. And a lot of this is really dynamic information, so it changes fairly quickly. But these are some of the things that I'm seeing right now that seem to really be working for brands. And I think some really concrete things that anyone can implement for their particular company or their particular brand to get more out of their marketing right now. So a little bit about the agenda. What is a great marketing strategy? We'll talk about some social media trends, some cost-effective things that you can be doing right now as a business, catchy topics and titles, and picking the right audience, as well as doing some case studies too. And I've actually added a few more slides in here as well too, to talk a little bit about what the environment is like. A little bit about myself. So my name is Heather Pressler. I am the co-founder and managing director of Capital Practice. I grew up in Seattle, Washington, but I was born in Honolulu. So I've been on the West Coast for a good portion of my life. But I came out east, went to MIT. At MIT, that was actually when Facebook was started at Harvard with Mark Zuckerberg, and I was one of the first 250 users on the Facebook platform back when it didn't do much other than it just had your face and a little bit about yourself. So, Facebook has obviously evolved quite a bit from there and is one of the main topics of this presentation today too. So it's interesting to see it come from that far to now. I was a researcher for many years. I have a PhD in biology. I went to Johns Hopkins to get my PhD and worked down here in the DC area at NIH, finishing my research, which is what brought me to the DC area. I have traveled the world thank you to science. I worked in India for a summer at a pharmaceutical company there to see what it was like to work in India in pharmaceuticals. I also received a grant to work on behalf of the National Science Foundation as a science ambassador in Japan, and did some research at a material science lab in Japan. And obviously pre-COVID, this is my family, and we traveled to Egypt this past summer. But obviously travel plans have been put on hold. We have to find some new interests to entertain ourselves these days. And that one of those new interests is Marie Isabel. That's her right there. She's a tiny little baby at the moment, but these are my whys. My other why as a business owner is my dad has been a business owner for a very long time. I ran his marketing before I went to college. I built him his first website before I went to college. And here I am full circle back doing digital marketing and helping people get the most for their spend from a business perspective. A little bit about Capital Practice Consulting. We started this business because of an unmet market need. So the biggest unmet need was myself and Peter worked for very large pharmaceutical companies, and we were selling fillers and Botox to those small businesses. And all of them would ask us, okay, I need help with what are people doing from a marketing perspective? How should I stay on top of the market? How do I advertise to get more patients in the door? And we would help them as a part of our job working for the company. But this gentleman in the middle, Alex Burgos, is actually the glue that brought us all together. He had a lot of the skills with regards to how do you get higher ranked on Google? What should you be doing to build 1 million followers on Instagram? And the three of us together came to form Capital Practice Consulting because out of nearly 400 people we knew in the DC area, not a single one could recommend their website company or their digital marketing company. And so we came together to be primarily a local digital marketing firm, but now we've obviously expanded to LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta. So we have clients kind of in all pockets of the country, but we still like to be in person when we can, and when it's not COVID times, I suppose. What should you always do as a business? So I always like to keep this slide in here because this is what on a day-to-day basis as a business you should try to achieve to do. So you have a return on investment driven strategy. What that means is that for every dollar that you spend in advertising or on social media or on Google ads or on TV ads or on magazine, that you're measuring that return. And so you're measuring it either by tracking phone calls, tracking leads, finding out how much money comes in for every dollar that you spend, being goal driven. So what this is that specifically, okay, I want to attract a small business owner. I want to attract a plastic surgeon. I want to attract a dermatologist, or I want to attract a consumer. Having those goals for where you want that business to come into your business helps you, again, achieve those goals. You have to make goals to achieve them. Having cohesive campaigns and branding. So this is really important with regards to knowing who you are and who you are in the market. So a great example is Capital Practice Consulting. We are trying to be in person. We're trying to be the local presence, the local marketing company that can rank you nationally, right? And that sets us apart from some of the other national corporations where they might have a more canned strategy or they don't understand your local market. We try to make a big effort to really understand where you want to draw consumers from as a business. This 60% digital spend, this actually came from Comcast. So Comcast is the one who says you should be spending about 60% of your marketing dollars on the internet. And I think in COVID times, that's even greater at this point because you're going to get a better return of results on the internet than you are going to get from TV spend, radio spend, magazine spend these days. Being planned, executed, and consistent is always important. On average, and this never really changes, a consumer has to see your message 6 to 7 times before they actually take action and they do something. So the question is, where do you start and invest? Let's talk a little bit about the environment that we're in and what has changed. So this is talking about how has COVID-19 impacted your branding and marketing efforts. And this first one is that how much impact is COVID-19 having on your brand strategy and content strategy? And we've got responses from extreme to moderate and minor being very little. So pretty much every business responding to this survey is saying we've had to change our marketing pretty significantly and our branding pretty significantly. And then this one is how significant do you think COVID-19 disruption will be to your long-term marketing efforts? And so just a little over 50% of people that were surveyed, so just about 70% said it will be a lasting impact, but not transformative or permanently changed it. Whereas, another 30% or so said it's only short term, or they're just not sure how it's going to impact their branding strategy. And that's part of the topic today, is to talk about what are some of the things that should be changed in the meantime, right? And what are some of the things that you should be doing? This data actually comes from a website called Real Self, and it was a great presentation that I had the chance to hear in on, where they have very specific metrics and they can actually poll the people that come to their website. And this is actually a phenomenon that we've been seeing on Google, but we didn't have quite as diligent data as they did. And what I mean by that is we can't see everyone else's data, we can only see our clients' data. And when COVID-19 first hit, as you can see, this is the trend we saw, where there's actually a big hit to website traffic in general. And so these are all websites that are, small businesses, and we saw it steeply decline like this. But this is also what we've seen is not only a rebound, but we have a lot of clients who are far above where they started at. And one of the theories behind this is that it's actually correlated to the searches on COVID itself. And so this backwards flipped graph, I had to flip it backwards because it wasn't in the right time metric, is actually the searches specifically for COVID-19. And so as you can see, that peaked around mid-March and has since completely dropped off again. Not totally, but mostly gone off again. And so the theory here is that the website traffic on regular websites decreased as a result of people searching for COVID-related information, but that we're now seeing a steady, increase back to normal from where we were before. So one mindset that people want to know about is, what are consumers thinking right now? So consumers, when they were polled, and this was about 500 people that were polled, they said that they were ready to pounce when offices reopened. So just about 61% wanted to move forward with, in this case, booking consultations within 6 months of reopening, and 25% wanted to move forward ASAP. So consumer demand is not gone, right? And if anything, I think a lot of the people that we know personally saw a nice bounce back in June where they were slammed. And I think that has been waning a little bit now that people are taking vacation and things of that nature. But this is certainly not uncharacteristic of what we're seeing in the consumer market as well, too. The demand is still there, and people are still looking to purchase and still looking to buy. Another question a lot of people have asked or have concerns about is income. So the income of businesses, the incomes of individuals, how is that affecting the performance of a business over time? And so this one was specifically asking people, has COVID-19 resulted in a lower income for your household? So for example, because of reduced hours or jobs. And as you can see, the answer over time changed. So these are the different dates that they were asking people about their income. And as you can see, some people said yes right away, and that number has decreased quite a bit since the beginning. No, but I expect it will has also decreased as well too. And no, I don't know if it will is it's about the same. It's about even. And no, and I don't expect it will has actually gone up. So in other words, consumer confidence has rebounded, as well as some of the income situations with people has rebounded as well too. Now, that's not to say that there aren't people who are affected, but these are positive metrics to look at when you're thinking about consumer behavior as a whole. So let's get straight into some of our tips given these circumstances. So the number one is branding trends, and go back to your basics. And what are the basics? Trust, right? So when you started your business or when you went into business, trust is a big thing. You have to always have trust with your clients. And part of that, though, goes into this great picture of Peter here with a mask and gloves on. It's about safety. So the more content you can give to your consumers, your clientele, and your partners about what are we doing to continue to build trust with you, what are we doing to keep you safe, the more confidence a consumer will have coming to your business or doing business with you. Wash, rinse, repeat. So building consistent messaging and content on these topics. So even if you've put it out there once that, these are our procedures when you come into our office and these are the things we're doing to protect you, you should keep it consistent at this point, because again, the whole idea behind a consumer has to see it 6 or 7 times before they're to take action is also true with regards to that content. So they need to see it several times of how you're protecting them, what you're doing to protect them, in order to get them to really go to your business. Now, this can be in the form of a video, pictures, instructions, etc. The more content you have, the more different kinds of content, the more you can engage consumers on what you're doing. Online is king. This is probably not surprising given we're doing a Zoom right now. So people are looking for now solutions at home. And depending on what your business is, this might take a form of something different. So it might be e-commerce. This is a great example of an e-commerce setup on Instagram where people can buy directly from an image that they see on Instagram. So, hey, that cute backpack, I can click now and purchase this right away. Hey, that cute outfit, or even before and afters, things of that nature. You can all have them tagged with certain products that are in your e-commerce store and people can click to buy right away. E-commerce is a big one. App. So if you don't have an app for your business, an app can send notifications, it can send alerts. So like if you're a busy restaurant, you can send a notification that you have a new special dinner out for this week, that you have a buy one, get one going on, any sort of thing where there's $5 credit on Uber Eats. Those apps can be very valuable with regards to a new way of communicating with your customers, and as well as building loyalty. You can have a loyalty program on your app, which is usually the number one reason why people download apps. Ads are another one. So one of the interesting facts about COVID-19 is that nationally ad spend has been slashed. So a lot of the biggest brands that used to spend the most amount of money on ads have actually cut their ad expenditures, which means that you, me, and all the little players out there actually have a chance to get a better return on investment for the same ad spend that we had before, or a lower ad spend. So it's a great time to think about investing in ads, whether it's social media ads or Google ads. Those are good ways to invest your dollars right now. Virtual consultation, also webinar events like this one. They're really easy to run, and you can run an ads campaign around them to get more engagement on whether you are doing a consultation one-on-one with someone or whether you're doing an event. Engage the community. So again, this is a time where people are feeling uncertain or they want to feel comforted, and your brand can be there that engages with the community, talking about ways of helping small businesses, or really trying to engage some of the positive messaging that's going on in our communities right now in terms of supporting each other. Tip number 3 is to maneuver quickly. So this one might seem like a no-brainer, but it really is something where you need to be tracking more dynamically a lot of the things you're doing from a marketing perspective. So Whether you haven't had in the past a way to track your investments. So is it phone recordings? Is it asking customers? Is it engagement stats? Is it stats on your ad campaigns? Quickly looking at it every month, reevaluating it every month, so that if something's not working, you make a change quickly rather than, delaying that change. Engage your brand champions, and brand champions can be a couple of different things. They can be people who refer a lot of business to you. They can be people who follow you on social media and like you on social media. They can be people who write you positive reviews. Working with them to maybe co-promote your businesses, or figuring out a way that you can further solidify that relationship virtually is always a positive thing. Use all your tools. So tools being social media advertising, social media, email blasts, personal emails. A lot of times, you might be using one here or there. All of those tools might be a way to engage with people better now, and having a cohesive strategy to do so will get you someone to finally respond to your email, or someone to text you back, or someone to join you on a webinar. And then finally, change fast. So given all of these different options that you have, making these changes as you go, as quickly as you can, is a positive thing. Of course, you want to be able to measure whether or not it's working and give it enough time to be able to measure that. But I think, making sure that you're making quick decisions, because, sometimes these situations or the market changes very quickly. You want to make sure you want to stay on top of that to survive. Cost-conscious ways to promote action. So going back to, a lot of people have been slashing ads budgets. What are cost-conscious ways that you can still be in front of people? Facebook and Instagram ads you can spend as little as $150 to $300 a month, and run a couple of ad sets to either get some virtual consultations or get people to jump on a Zoom with you. Email marketing can be anywhere from $0 a month to $200, depending on your list size. So MailChimp offers free accounts for up to 2,000 contacts. And all you have to do is put together that email blast in order to get a good number of responses to your most recent email. And then Zoom webinar software only costs about $14 a month. So whether you're doing virtual consultations, virtual events, or just networking with people, it's really not that expensive to have an account so that you can better engage with people online. Social media ads. So this one I want to take a little bit of time to talk about. Before COVID, they were bigger than TV. People were spending more hours on Facebook than they are watching TV now. The great thing about social media ads is you can go hyper-local. With TV, it can be very difficult to be hyper-local. And the way that social media and social media ads work, you can advertise to very specific niches online. You can also advertise to your extended network, whether you upload a list of your contacts to your ads platform, or you use the people who like your business page and who are friends with you on Facebook to advertise to them. Getting more connections and views, so you can have ads that'll build your following so that you don't have to pay as much for ads in the future. You can get ads that retarget from your website. So something called a Facebook pixel will track when someone goes to your website, and then reserve those ads to them on Facebook as well too, so that you can get engagement. Again, the whole idea being they have to see something about you 6 or 7 times before they really take action is true for Facebook ads as well too. And then boost your followers. So build more of that engagement among your followers as well. Picking your audience. This is something that I think is a very powerful thing to show, because this is what makes social media advertising really unique. You can pick everything from specific locations to specific age ranges, someone's gender, language that they speak. You can pick interests. So they might be interested in certain magazines, certain brands if they're big enough. Jobs. You can search titles and companies that people have listed on Facebook. Demographics. So whether it's that they're interested in certain things, or they have certain behaviors, or they're admins of Facebook pages. There's a lot of detailed information that's available on Facebook that you can target. And so you can reach your audience very specifically, which is not possible in a lot of other forms of advertising. So talk about 2 case studies. So the first one's a dentist case study. And this was an existing client of ours. Actually, both of them are existing clients, and how we helped them make the shift when COVID happened. So The dentist was obviously one of the hardest hit, professionals out there, where they had to completely shut down for some time. And we helped them when the shutdown happened to do two things: to arrange teledental visits, and then also Invisalign consults. And it was mostly for Invisalign. We wanted to continue to do some cosmetic work for them. And we had the dentist shoot several short videos on what are smile consults, their COVID procedures, and what are emergency procedures that they're doing. Because as we started to open up, they were allowed to start to do emergency procedures. We helped them discontinue their more expensive Google ads for social media ads. And then we quickly found a solution to build an e-commerce site in really a matter of days for them. We scheduled a webinar on oral health during the shutdown, and added website content on emergency dental procedures and visits so that they could get picked up for those things, because that was the only thing they were allowed to do for a couple of months. With that e-commerce setup, it was something called Shopify, which it was an example that I showed earlier, where you can advertise on Instagram using Shopify. You can offer gift cards, skincare services. It doesn't have to necessarily be a product as well. And you can connect this to Instagram and Facebook to sell on social media. So what were their results? Over 30 days, they had 30 Smile Consult leads. They had 100 e-commerce in-cart purchases. They had multiple emergency patients scheduled per week and a dozen attendees on their webinars. So they really were able to make the most out of their time, even when they were shut down partially as a business. Second case study was actually a weight loss surgeon. And similar to the dentist, they were also shut down for non-emergency procedures as well. So we started doing telehealth visits and promoting telehealth visits for virtual consults on weight loss surgery. We also added more content on emergency surgeries that they could do. As a general surgeon, they can do things like gallbladder surgery, emergency hernia surgery, depending on what kind of surgery that is. So we added some new content on that. We also had them, for the first time, they had not invested in social media ads before, for these virtual consults and information sessions. Their results over 30 days was phenomenal. The last time we spoke, they were like, we may have to turn this off. It's working so well. So they had over 25 leads via their seminar attendance. They had actually a better virtual close ratio than in person. They were closing more people to do surgery than they had when they were doing in-person consultations. And they're not the only client that has told us this. They had multiple emergency patient inquiries, and then they are currently booked out over 3 months for surgeries. So they're very, very busy. In fact, they're so busy that they're thinking about adding a new provider. Now, these are the best case scenarios for businesses. How can we help? So if you're a startup, we help people get started right. We help with training one-on-one, or giving some critiques on marketing proposals or marketing plans with regards to starting a business. With expanding businesses, such as the weight loss surgeon, we help someone get to the point where they're either ready to expand, or they've already expanded and they're trying to get a junior partner more busy in their practice or in their firm. We give advice and strategy. So that's also what we do on the consulting side of our business. And we do packages in marketing, sales, training, consulting, or both. So if you know anyone who has a small business or who works with small businesses, and people are complaining about, not knowing what to do next, feel free to reach out and ask us questions, and I will open the floor for any questions that you might have.